giving you the real from A to Z surrounding the Dallas Cowboys. News, updates, rumors, transactions, takes, and more. So strap up, Cowboys Nation, and start your day off with A to Z Sports. Live with Will Steele.
3, 2, 1.
Here we go. Oh, yeah. Good morning. Good people. Welcome to A to Z Sports Live, presented by Boston Scientific. We're streaming live on YouTube and Facebook. And of course, I am your host, Will Skywalker Steele. Boom! It's Friday night. Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen. It's Friday. I'm just going to press this button right here. We're so close to the draft, man. We've talked about everything you could possibly talk about. One more week and a half. So it's getting around that roll out the TV stage. So today we're going to grade the mock draft of DMN, Dallas Morning News. 4-round mock draft. Certain player falls to the Cowboys in the first round, so we'll talk about that and the other three. But pretty easy day to day. Roll that TV on now, pop in that movie like we used to do back in our school days, and just gonna have a good one. It's Friday, man. Half of y'all got paid. Some of y'all going out to have a good time tonight. I'm gonna go see Air. I'm gonna go see that tonight. I was looking in the chat and I saw y'all were talking about cigar lounges and things like that. Look, I'm trying to get into that as well. My soon to be father-in-law came down and we went to Chamberlain's down here in Dallas. So I'm trying to find little areas like that. So I hope y'all have a fantastic Friday after today's show, but it's only right that we start off your Friday with one of the best Dallas Cowboys shows in the morning. Come on now. Let's go, Bomb Squad.
Bomb Squad!
How y'all doing, man? What's up, Mark, Lemitra, Jameson, Swain, Sugar Daddy, One Williams. I even feel weird saying that. DC for life. What's goody? Michael Beatty in the building over on Facebook. Tyrone, Phil 2 Trill, CJ in the building. Mark Felix. I did see Toxic, I believe, earlier, right? Alpha Mason, Spock, and the many more that's up in here. Appreciate y'all. Appreciate y'all. If you missed yesterday's show, at some point, Ron. But if you missed yesterday's show, you missed a banger. We had a surprise guest. We had Duran, anything but bland, come on the show. And today, after today's show, I will be dropping that audio. We'll premiere it. That way you guys can be involved again like you were yesterday. But really good stuff. I had a good time, and I'm going to try to keep in contact with DB, and maybe around minicamp I'll hit him back up and see if we can get him back on the show and see how things are going out there at minicamp. So got a good one lined up today. Easy one, I should say. A pretty easy show. If y'all want to call in, of course y'all can. 351-999-3787 is the call-in line to let me know what is on your mind. All right? Yeah, yesterday didn't get a chance to do it, L, but today I'll have it. I wanted it to be its own on Friday, so we'll see what we can do with that. But let's get into this roundup. Not a lot. Again, news is very, very slow. So anything that pops up in Cowboys world, we'll try to talk about. But we got another tight end that was an official visit for the Cowboys.
It's time! It's time! It's time! It's time! It's time! It is time for...
It's time for the morning roundup. Round 'em up, boys.
Oh, they do it. Hey, oh, they do it.
Hey, yo. So funny how we did our on the clock draft series on Tuesday, right? And we talked tight ends. And the Cowboys, it came out yesterday that Todd Archer confirms one of the tight ends that we talked about, Tucker Kraft, was among the tight ends that have visited the Star in Dallas. Obviously, the other one being Big Darnell Washington. There was another like day 3 undrafted type of guy tight end. So they've they've had a guy from a round 1, round 2, probably grade round 2, and Darnell Washington come in, a Tucker Kraft mid-round type, and then likely a late round undrafted type. So they're doing their due diligence from top to bottom of the draft. And here's what Foots had to say, our roundtable draft analyst, on Tucker Kraft. Take a listen.
And so with Kraft, obviously small school guy, but the traits and the measurables are what you're looking at. Now, when you see that 254, now you're looking at a guy who could possibly reach these ends. Like, you would never ask, Sam Laporta to do some of that stuff. But you would ask Tucker Kraft to do that because of the size alone, and he's willing to do it. He's shown it on tape. But then, the best way to describe him for me, Scott, is a poor man's Michael Mayers, where he's not quite as good as what Mayers can do, but it's the same type of build, the same type of. The arms are super long. The 40 wasn't bad. 3 touchdowns last year. I just think that playing at South Dakota State, South Dakota State. When you look at their offense, it was kind of like, but you could see where he could be in a pro style offense. Because again, the big target, the foot quickness is good, and the size is good. And he's one of those guys where now you're not putting in a package for him to be. What are we talking about this whole conversation? He's not a package guy to where we have to package him to get him the ball. He's in our offense, and he's a part of the read. He's a part of the progression. He's a part of our play action stuff because he doesn't have to come off the field because he doesn't give up much as a blocker. Like, as a blocker, he's really good, really physical, and the size makes sense. Like, I'll be honest with you, I would take him, and, chat box, you guys chime in. He's probably like my second best blocker on this list behind somebody that we'll get to later. So I really like Tucker Kraft. I really like Tucker Kraft. Former basketball player. Again, the hips aren't too bad, so I really like Tucker Kraft.
That was Foots the King. Shout out to Foots breaking down Tucker Kraft. Funny how, like I said, things work out. So the Cowboys are interested, clearly. And again, they're doing their due diligence, top to bottom, looking at all types. So, it shouldn't be a surprise, even though y'all know how I feel, if they go with one of the guys that they like in the Mayers or Washington's early. But I feel like they'll settle in somewhere around 3 or beyond for that position. And maybe Kraft could be a guy. All right. Maybe Kraft could be a guy. I saw somebody here say they love Tucker Kraft. Beast Mode said you can run reverses with Tucker Kraft. When I took a quick look at him, and I had told Foot to say school me on him because I only took a quick look. When I took a quick look at Tucker Kraft, he reminded me of an old school type of tight end. Not in a bad way, just kind of the bigger, physical. He tested well, so I don't want to use the word plodding, right? But he's not a guy that's going to wow you from an explosive standpoint, but secure type guy, quarterback's best friend, inline tight end, can do all the normal tight end things as opposed to the flavor of the month. Hey, I'm going to spread him out wide and just, he's going to be a pass catching tight end. It just feels like every time we fall in love with those types, they turn out to be just regular guys in the league. And when you look at the type of tight ends that actually can play in line and then stretch out, those are the ones that seem to have a little bit more success. You got outliers where you have the Darren Wallers, wide receiver turned tight ends and whatnot. Kyle Pitts, we'll see how that works out throughout his career. Hell, it took Evan Ingram a long time, in my opinion, to figure it all out because he couldn't stay in line as much. So you got to be real special to be a guy that's going to be detached most of the time. So Tucker Kraft, throwback tight end to me. Throwback tight end. Let's see what y'all talking about here in the chat. Braden Willis, that's the guy, right? Devin. Devin said Braden Willis from Oklahoma can do fullback as well. Could probably be had in a 6. If I'm not mistaken, isn't Braden Willis the guy the Cowboys, the other tight end the Cowboys brought in? And did I open up the lines for y'all? I did. Here we go. Apologies, y'all. Move everything around. Bang, bang, boom. Danny says, I think Washington's not going to have a long career. Nobody's going to tackle him high, and he's going to take. Oh, good Lord, Dick. Come on, Danny. What? You and Toxic might be the most toxic fans I've ever seen in my life. Hey, dog, you ain't gonna have a long career. They're gonna take your knees out. Jeez. Come on, man. Beast Mode said we have a wide receiver tight end in Hendershot. Ferguson and Kraft or traditional would complement the tight end room. Toxic like, whoa, why am I catching strays? Your name is Toxic Tom. Demetra says no tight end in the first. L's in the Friday. It's Friday and the coffee is mid. Hey, Danny woke up with violence. Hey, Darnell, your career gonna be short. They taking out your knees. Good Lord. Josh Wiley. I want to bring somebody on here to talk about Josh Wiley. He's kind of one of those names that have been creeping up the mocks and creeping up the draft world. You feel me though, Professor O? Huh? Too broke to pay attention. This is great because I just said Professor O. Me and Professor O had to talk about Michael Wilson. I believe is this a Stanford kid you're talking about? Too broke. He says, Sky, what's your thoughts on Michael Wilson at wide receiver draft on day 3, possibly undrafted free agent? I really like this kid. O had to put me deep on his injury history. I didn't know he was a hurt guy. So if you can get him late day 3, I mean, I don't know if he's an undrafted guy or not. I don't know where he's slotted to go. But I like the foundation, right? Because if you're getting a guy on day 3, you're talking about a guy that's not ready. So I like his feet. He looked like he can, beat the press, get off the line of scrimmage. And I know we call it semi-sweet feet, and he's from, same area, I believe. But man, he got some quick feet. He showed out down there at the Senior Bowl, and that's what kind of put me on his radar. But I do like the wide receiver a lot. Yeah, Professor O, film good, just injury concerns. That's all I got right now on the negative front. It just seems like he's an injury guy, and I don't believe he had a ton of production, but it's Stanford at the end of the day. All right, let's get into this mock draft, and we'll start off with round 1. This is a mock draft done by the Dallas Morning News. First one we'll get that. First one, and we see this name pop up a ton. We see this name pop up a ton for the Cowboys in mocks. Early in mocks, it felt like this name was falling to the Cowboys. But of late, over the last few weeks, I haven't seen too many mock drafts mock this guy to us. And we're talking about Bijan Robinson. So the Cowboys have Bijan fall to them at 26. And this is what, I believe it was Watkins, said in his article. There were 2 pass rushers, Nolan Smith from Georgia, Will McDonald from Iowa State, available on the board when we picked. Obviously, McDonald worked out with Dan Quinn, but they elected to go with the best running back in the draft. Jordan Addison was also available, according to him, on this list, but the Cowboys went with Bijan. Broderick Jones went 23 to Minnesota. Anton Harris right before the Cowboys at 25 to the New York Giants. So boom, Bijan falls to the Cowboys. You get, not arguably, but likely the best running back in the draft. One of the best players in the draft. There will be some pushback from a lot of Cowboy fans that the value, they'll look at it as, bad value. Don't take a running back in round 1. But at 26, he falls to you, the Cowboys are going to run to the podium, I think. I truly, truly do believe they'll run to the podium. And you could say it for 2 reasons. One, I mean, Bijan is electric. He's just a really damn good player. And 2, you want to talk about the marketing ability that Jerry will get now.
I don't have the patience to jack with you today.
He will make all y'all forget about Ezekiel Elliott. Straight up. Whatever number Bijan elects to get, whatever gesture he elects to do, Jerry's going to put it in front of everyone to make y'all forget about one Ezekiel Elliott. But Bijan, man, he's just like that. I mean, uncanny feel in the hole. He has the explosiveness. He can make you miss at every single level. He can catch out the backfield. He's obviously got to work on his pass pro, but I mean, he's a 5'2" running back. It's Bijan freaking Robinson, man. I'm not going to sit here and try to talk myself out of getting a fantastic player like this. So I'm at an SNA. What would you grade this Bijan Robinson pick in round 1 for the Cowboys in this mock draft? I'm giving it an A. I'm not overthinking this. I'm not trying to get cute. You get Bijan, you get an A. Let's not get cute here, man. This is a fantastic player. At 26, y'all, not 6. 26. Let's see here. Bands said, will he wear 22? Look, we had this conversation last week. Somebody actually asked that in the mailbag. If you want to make Cowboys Nation forget about 21, give him 22. I mean, is there A's down here? I knew Danny was coming in with a C. Danny believes that Israel Wakanda is the best running back in this draft. I mean, is there a word for the contrarian? There's another word for contrarian. I feel like some people just love to be a contrarian here. Bijan Robinson's a beast, and you're giving this a C? What are we doing? Speaking of the devil, Danny, explain yourself, good sir. We got Danny Savage on the line giving Bijan Robinson a C on a Friday. What are we doing, What are we doing, Danny?
But it was a C plus. It wasn't a C. It was a C plus. You know
that doesn't do anything here.
Listen, here's the deal with Bijan. If Dallas drafts Bijan, Jerry's gonna sell Bijan action figures. Yo, pillows.
I agree with that.
None of those old WWF big giant pillows you wrestle with the wrestlers. Jerry's gonna make them.
Oh, listen, I had those, bro. Me and my brother used to go ham on those.
Yeah, I know. We all did. We beat them up.
Ultimate Warrior, the whole Hulk Hogan, Brett. Yeah, I had them all.
They had the Ultimate Warrior. They had all of them. If Jerry drafts Bijan, it's going to be like a media circus. You know what I'm trying to say?
So let me ask you this.
Bijan great.
Are you down on that pick because of you think Jerry's going to play politics type of situation? He's going to shove Bijan, you know, like they're like Vince was doing with Roman Reigns type situation and John Cena. You're going to be sick and tired of the Bijan, or you really are down on the player?
There's a whole bunch of things. Okay. Number one, we draft Bijan. I think what's the purpose of TP? TP has $10 million, gets devalued now from us using him because Jerry's going to tell Big Mike, and Big Mike's going to do what Jerry tells him. Jerry's going to say, Big Mike, yo, run this kid. No matter what he does, run him. Then, you know, the couch scouting me says, is Bijan really, really good? Absolutely, 100%.
Oh.
But when his backup is going to go also in the top 90 to 100 picks, Johnson, which we both like through, I sit back and I say, they got one hell of an all-freshman offensive line. Boy, that Big 12 defense, they really suck. I just say that in the back of my head. Let me ask you a quick question. If Blake Corum from Michigan would have came out this year and not went back, who would you have liked better? Big Ten Blake Corum from Michigan or Bijan?
Danny, I haven't watched a Blake Corum. You're the college guy that's, you know, you already studying in 2024, right?
That's fair. I apologize.
Yeah,
I apologize.
Yeah.
And listen, I didn't mean anything bad about the Washington thing, but let's just be honest. The guy's 6'7", 270. If I'm a DB, if I'm a corner, a safety, a linebacker, and I see that monster running at me, you know, these guys are not going to tackle him high. They're going to tackle him low. Every tackle in the NFL is going to be low. You know, so I just think every tackle of him is going to be low, and I don't wish getting hurt on anybody. That's horrible.
No, I ain't saying you wishing it, but Professor O made a good point. Why don't you say that about Zach Kuntz? He's 6'7". Can't tackle him high.
Because Zach Kuntz is a day 3 guy to me.
No. We weren't talking about where you draft the guy. You were just saying, you know, Darnell Washington was going to have a short career because dude's going to come at his legs. Well, Kuntz is 6'7" too. You're not really tackling him high. You coming at his legs.
Kuntz is actually taller.
Well, oh, there you go.
But I don't like Kuntz's. How I look at it is, I guess I don't care about him that much if he's that much of a later pick versus this kid in round 1. Because Washington's going to go, I think Washington's going to – someone's going to take a flyer on him round 1, I think. Where I thought from day 1 Kuntz was a day 3 guy, but somehow he's getting a lot of I don't see it. But, I mean, the master, Dane Brugler, and he is the guy – I mean, I've never seen breakdowns like his ever. He got the kid pulling a Jelani Peoples from last year. We're possibly late 2, early 3. I don't see it with the kid. All I'm trying to say is if he's a round 5 guy and he gets his knee blown out, plus he's a toothpick. The kid's a toothpick. You know what I'm trying to say? If my round 5 guy gets blown out, if this makes any sense, you know, it doesn't worry me as much as my round 1 guy. Let's be honest, bro. Man. Our first round pick, first round pick gets hurt.
I know what you're trying to say, right? Like the value, right? Like if your 5th round pick get hurt, it's like, he's my 5th round pick. But if my 2nd round pick or my 1st round get hurt, you're like, oh man, that sucks. But damn, Danny, they people, Danny. Danny said, I don't give a damn about my 5th round pick's knees.
No, I'm just saying, you know, come on. If our first rounder gets hurt,
you wrong, dog.
We're gonna cry, but we're also at a thing this year. You know, we're 2-3 players away. We need our first rounder to come in and be plugged and play this year.
Fair enough.
Before I leave, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I said fair enough. We do need a plug and play early guy.
Before I leave, I'm even gonna drop a 2024 guy on you guys. Who's a tight end? His name is Johnny Langan. Originally started as quarterback at Boston College.
Run out names for this guy.
He's a local guy. Transferred to Rutgers. Has started quarterback. Has started fullback. Has started tight end. He's a bruiser. His future in the NFL, he's like a Swiss pocket knife. This kid can do everything. He's the kind of guy, he's probably going to be a day 3 guy, but he's the kind of guy a Bill Belichick will draft.
Danny, you did not just tell me. You are, Danny, I love you, dog. You did not just tell me a 2024 day 3.
Yeah, I've been watching this kid since high school, and I've been watching him in college the last 3 years. I've been watching him in college. He started every position, but when he went to Boston College, when he was like a 4-star.
You should really.
When he went to Boston College.
You should really. I'm telling you right now. You want to make some money on draft nicks and college watchers like you. You better start a YouTube page and call it Day 3 Danny. I guarantee you get a ton of viewers, dog. Because are you kidding me?
I promise you, I'll
2024 Day 3. There's not a chance I'm going to remember this name you tell me, Danny.
I'll do that if you promise me one favor. You'd be the first one who subscribes to my channel.
Oh, 100%. Are you kidding? I would
You're
definitely.
The man. I'm gonna look into it. Notice I got an iPad. I'm like Marv with the Gmail. I got to look into buying like a big laptop and stuff like that. And it's been back in my mind.
I'm telling you, don't let this research go to waste, Danny. You know, this is interesting. You know, for somebody. Me personally, I can't get into day 3 2027 picks, but
I was like this since I was a kid. No joke. Gotcha. I was like this guy as like a 13, 14-year-old. And then I played football my whole life. I was just enamored with the scouting, the draft, and breaking down.
Yeah.
And like I said, as much as I love football, that's how much I love UFC and wrestling and boxing. And then I hate everything else.
I got you, brother.
Have a great weekend, you and your family.
You as well,
all
man.
right? Talk to you.
There it is, ladies and gentlemen. Day 3, Danny. Professor O said, Danny, quote, Sky, there's this 3rd grader named Kyle Connors. He's 5'1" already. He's going to be a beast in 2036. That's a good one. What? He really, look, so he was telling me about this 2024 dude. I'm sitting here like, all right, maybe he's talking about, you know, a 1st round pick or the top pick next year. This motherfucker said day 3. Boy, Danny, you be knowing these guys. I'm sorry. Look, before I get to DJ real quick, let's take a quick look at the players that went after Bijan Robinson in his mock. Here we go. Nolan Smith, Will McDonald, Felix, Osiris Torrance, and Mozzie Smith. Now, look, y'all know how I feel about Mozzie. There's a lot of good names right there. What would you guys have done in this situation? They 100% took the best player available, right? Like, that's not even, I don't think, debatable. And if you are BPA, you can't be mad at the Cowboys for taking the best player available in a way at a position of need. I know running back is tricky because I don't need to take a running back in round 1. I can address that later. But what would you guys have done here? Would you have passed on Bijan Robinson for Nolan or Will McDonald? Do you want to shore up the offensive line with Osiris Torrance? Are you D-line guy here or Mozzie Smith? Mr. Myers says Nolan Smith and Bijan had to be a hard detractor. Probably would have been a conversation in that room. Or Will McDonald. You probably would have had Dan Quinn trying to fight for Will McDonald right here. T-Dub would have went O-line. It looks like Avila is still available too. If you actually go look the Avilas of the world, and he's not taken anywhere in this first round. So maybe they get Avila in a second. We'll see here in a little bit. What would you guys have done? Mark says, I like Mozzie, but the owner wants Bijan. Professor O, Nolan would tempt me. Yeah, I think there would be a battle between Nolan, Bijan, and Will. I think Will would has a sponsor, right? He's got Dan Quinn. Nolan's just so, I just think he has so much upside as a pass rusher. And the pairing of Nolan Smith and Sam Williams as your future, with Micah Parsons kind of being wherever you want him to be, it is really fun to think about. Obviously, Mozzie Smith is that plug in the middle next to Oso, whatever 3-tech you roll with for the future. I think Mozzie can be a fantastic interior guy, but Bijan's the best player on the board right here. Best player on the board. Let's get DJ real quick before we get to round 2. What's good, DJ?
Hey, what's going on, Scott? How you doing this morning, sir?
All right, good brother. How are you?
Yeah, good. Well, no, in this case, I mean, that is a lot of talent there behind the Cowboys there. But if that's a situation where you're like, okay, so who are you taking? Bijan? But what if it's Bijan? What if you consider Bijan? That's how I feel about it.
Yeah, he the best player on the board, man, and it's hard to talk yourself out of it.
For sure. Again, Danny doing his thing. He's like, man, I hate or he did say he hated it. It's a C+ because the guy that couldn't even beat him out on his own team. If we take him in round 4, I think that would be the better pick. That's actually why I ended up having to call in because I get that this is a long process for all of us, right?
Yeah.
Even casual draft fans at this point have their own strategy built up. They know at least 90 guys by this point, whether they know they do or they don't. So it's going to be a matter of how the board falls. We all have our own opinions, and we're all 100% right. Now, we don't know what's going to happen, what is it, next week? Jesus, it's already here. But we don't know what's going to...
13 days, so 2 weeks, yeah.
Oh, Lord, geez. I remember when it was like, we got 4 months until the draft.
I can't wait, though. I'm so ready to just focus on who the Cowboys took. I'm over this right now, but yeah.
Oh, yeah, same. All the speculation and the repetitive nature of all this, because you get asked the same thing 50 different ways, but in theory, it's truly the same question.
I wish they moved this up. I was talking to Vach about it. I wish they would move the draft up, but I understand they make a lot of money, with the combine, and then you got the Senior Bowl, and then that period in between, you get visits and whatnot. But man, selfishly, I wish they moved it up.
Well, honestly, there's really no reason to have so much time. I mean, you can move it up to the first week of April. It'd still be just as effective, just allow 30 visits to start a little earlier. But anyway, I'm being a little uncreative this morning since I got you because I asked Voch a question yesterday. And you weren't there. That was why I kind of wanted to wait until the afternoon show. I didn't know you weren't going to be there, but it's fine. You do you. If you're building a team, you have your quarterback, you have your pass rusher. In this case, let's say we have Dak, we have Michael Parsons. What do you start with first? Do you start with building the offense first, or do you start with building the defense first on your personal? You're building it from the ground up as Will Skywalker Steel. Which direction do you go first?
Who is this, a draft? Is this free agency? Is there players I'm picking? Because that matters, right? Because you say, well, I have the opportunity to take Aaron Donald or Jamar Chase. Like, I'm taking Aaron Donald, but you know what I mean? So like who's that? Like, what are we? This is such a very broad hypothetical.
Fair.
It's almost impossible.
It's more of straightforward. Are you more of an offensive guy or more of a defensive guy? If you had to make one stronger, faster, you were running a team, would you be a defensive-minded guy or would you be an offensive-minded guy? Just so we can learn who you are individually. I'm
the absolute worst person to ask this type of stuff to, because you know what my moniker is, right? Context matters.
Yes, sir.
I hate things that completely eliminate all context, because it's just too much in between. Like, am I inheriting a team? I'm just randomly on Madden starting from zero like that.
Okay, you're like me. I can't.
This makes my skin crawl because this is way too many other things I gotta ask. So it's not black and white. Now it's not black and white, man. What am I inheriting? Who's on my team? I'm not starting from a blank slate. Nobody's starting from a blank slate in the NFL, right? So I don't know. That question makes my skin crawl, man. Do I have a franchise quarterback? Yes, I got a franchise quarterback. I'd like to build around that guy, but you can do that in a multitude of ways. You can do that by, the building up the offensive line, right? You can do that by providing a strong defense. But again, who am I taking at these spots? So sorry, I'm the wrong person to ask, bro.
I got you. Let me contextualize this then. Would you, in this draft and the prospects that are on the board, do you see yourself taking more defensive guys, or is the talent better on the defensive side of the ball, or would you say the talent's better on the offensive side of the ball as a whole for the prospects in this draft, if you just evaluated that real quick?
If we're talking, the top, it feels defense to me. It feels like the offense is more O-line. I don't think the offensive skill positions are top heavy this year. It's a whole lot of offensive line, and then you get a bunch of grade 2 wide receivers. That may go in round 1, but I think defense feels like the way to go early if we're talking about where the top end-ish talent is. But I guess quarterbacks you can put up there, but I don't care about quarterbacks, but it feels defense to me. What does it feel like to you?
I would say the top end, like, not always, but normally is quarterback driven, right? Like, out of the top 10 picks, 4 or 5 of them could possibly be quarterback if you slip Will Levis in there.
If we're talking quarterbacks, that might sway it to the offense, because you're going to get 4 or 5 of those dudes are probably going to get taken in round 1, plus 4 or 5 tackles and maybe a couple receivers, maybe a couple tight ends and a running back. So you might get more offensive guys taken based off of the value of quarterbacks, but I like a lot of the defenders early.
Yeah, for sure. But I also look at the amount of tight ends that are out there, and I have to be wary because I'm a Cowboys fan. I look at it from what positions the Cowboys are of need. Cornerback might be a deep thing this year, but I honestly couldn't tell you yes or no. Like, I've heard names, right? But I honestly couldn't tell you that because I didn't get deep into the cornerbacks, because by the time that the trade and all that happened, I hadn't gotten the quarterbacks yet. And since they did, I never really deep dived them as I should have or would have if it was a position of need in my mind. corner and all that, but it feels like the tight ends are a little deeper this year. Interior O lineman feels like all 7-round conversation this year. The tackles are top heavy as normal, but I find myself looking at more offensive guys. Wide receiver is super, super deep, right? I think there's quality guys all the way down to round 5 that I wouldn't be mad if we got them in round 5. So it just kind of comes down to me. I think the offensive side is real deep, but the defensive side, the top talent are all guys that could come in and be game changers almost immediately all the way through day 2, I believe. So it just kind of really goes into what you're looking at there. But I've been on here long enough. I'll let you get back to it, brother. You got a whole draft to go through, or a few more rounds to get through. So.
All right, DJ. Appreciate the call, man.
Yes, sir.
Want to get to a super chat from King earlier. Silly man.
Super chat.
He said, I understand the hype. This is Danny. I understand the hype for Bijan. I really do. But my grandson, Leonardo Linguini, out of Long Island, forgot about University, will be the most slept on running back in the 2027 NFL draft. Solid day 3 guy. Appreciate you, King. There was another one. It might have scrolled past by now. And it did. I'll get to the other one in a second. But as he was talking about cornerback in the Dallas Morning News mock draft, I still got mine. Dallas Cowboys select cornerback Garrett Williams out of Syracuse. And very interesting. And it's funny because when I was looking at this and then I read what he said here, right there. This is where the Cowboys historically gamble on players. Randy Gregory, Tristan Hill, Kelvin Joseph, Sam Williams. Garrett Williams would be that type of gamble. Hurt guy, round 2, tore ACL in October would be one of those gambles. I'll read what Dane Brugler had to say on Williams and why I think this is a bit of a reach. Williams is an athletic and hyper-aware player who can return his eyes to the quarterback without losing track of his coverage. He is undersized by NFL standards, and that will show against big frame targets and blockers on the outside. Williams goes 5'10", and $190. He doesn't have the ideal size or strength, and the durability on his left knee is unknown variable. But he has the athletic traits and instinct capabilities to handle himself well on an island. He has the down-the-road starting potential as an NFL perimeter corner. Give me your grade on Garrett Williams' the selection in round 2. So Brugler has a 4th round grade on him. This feels like a reach. I mean, who else is on the board? Let's see what they're saying here. Looks like they had Wisconsin linebacker Nick Herbig, DJ, your guy, and UCLA running back Zach Charbonnet was available, but they took the running back around 1, so no need for Charbonnet. There was also the Ohio State center on the board as well. I don't know who else was there, but it feels like it's a reach. I mean, only way I can know is if who else is on the board. But let's see. El Paso says 2 broke. Garrett doesn't look like a DQ guy. What's his arm length and whatnot? 5'10" is definitely on the shorter side. So there's that. Sounds like such a Cowboys round 2 pick. And I wonder if that's why Watkins, went with this because of the whole take a chance on a guy situation. But this doesn't feel, yes, it fits that mode, right? But it doesn't fit the actual coaches type of mode, right? Like he likes bigger guys, taller guys, longer guys. And at 5'10", $190, he's more on the shorter side for the cornerback situation. We've been here before, the whole Samuel situation, but I think Samuels was better coming out. Mark gives it a C. Grant gives it a C. Not a great sell. Stephen White's like, nah, this isn't a great take. A great selection, I'm guessing. Big reach from Brian. If I missed round 1, I missed round 1. Oh, round 1 was Bijan Robinson, Chris. Bijan Robinson. C- from Mr. Myers. D. Yeah, this one would be D+ from Chris. D. Yeah, I'm borderline. I wouldn't be happy with this one here. I don't know who else is on the board, but ball guy for sure. Feels like he has the fundamentals. Brugger believes he has the athleticism and awareness. Maybe there's some potential there, but man, I'd love to know who else was on the board for this pick. But as it stands, Lisa F. As it stands right now, I'd have to really talk myself into this. Like I would really have to dive into this film and find where Dan Quinn and Al Harris can uplift this guy to be where we wanted to be in 2023. This kind of feels like hey, we'll see what he has in 2024 type of situation, because there's no way, right, he's going to see the field. I don't think so. All right, let's talk we had King on the line. He left, but let's get Nacho and see what Nacho got to say about this round 2 selection and more. Good morning, Nacho.
My man, how you doing? Good morning. Hey, listen, Bijan to me, landing at 26 is a dream scenario.
That's your guy.
I do understand. Absolutely. If he's there, I doubt that he'll be there, but anything happens on the draft. Running back is not necessarily, as we've talked about, is not really sought after. It's a deep running back class. We can get, a running back later in those rounds, but let me tell you, O-line, corner, I have 2 receivers, and 2 receivers for me worthy of first-round selection for Dallas if they're there. And that would be JSN and Say Flowers. I'm enamored with these 2 players. So if any of those are there, great. I've heard a lot of, talk about tight end. I just feel like we can take a tight end later in the draft. If we really look at our scenario, where are we at? What do we really need? What can we not do away with? We don't necessarily need to get a tight end. We have 2 tight ends as we speak right now. We can start a game on Sunday with what we got.
You really got 3. You could roll out there. Don't forget about Sean McEwen.
Yes, exactly. And thank you for adding. Yeah. So you don't need necessarily a tight end as of now. Now, what do we really need? Now, O-line, can we use a starting left guard? Okay, so that becomes a priority, I think. Now, linebacker, a Drew Sanders, for example, just to kind of throw out there. Okay, kind of player that I like if we're wiped out and a player like him is available. Oh my God, I think he could be dynamic.
Look,
gives us another.
I'd love to take a Drew or Jack Campbell, one of these guys I can plug at middle linebacker. I don't know, and it's funny because with Dan Quinn, he's kind of throwing me for a loop here. I thought I had Dan Quinn down pat when it came to these linebackers, but he's kind of going a little bit throwback with these middle linebackers. Bringing in Anthony Barr, bigger guy, and retaining LVE twice now. So Sanders and Campbell actually start to fit that mold a little bit. So I'm all the way in on getting me a middle linebacker mainstay for sure. I don't care where it's at, to be honest.
Absolute. And to your point, yeah, Dan can be a little like I think they've even looked at the linebackers from Tulane, and they get these other players that maybe we haven't really heard much about, or maybe not as valued picks. But to the question earlier, though, at 26, we need to go get value, and I think it's a no-brainer. If Robinson does drop, you got. It would hurt to see us pass on Robinson if
so it would only
take some. If we're going to take more of an, if we're going to take a need pick rather than taking a value pick, I think we're making a big mistake.
I think it would only hurt if you don't grab one of these many running backs that are really good complementary type players. That's when it only hurts. And we're going to continue with this draft, but there's a couple things that they elected not to do in this draft, and we'll get to. But appreciate the call, Nacho.
My man, have a blessed day.
Yes, sir. I wanted to address this real quick. So, Danny, we know you're out on JSN, but you said he's overrated. It's easy to catch passes when he was third option behind Olave and Wilson. So, what would you say about him if he's the third guy to catch passes behind CeeDee Lamb and Brandon Cooks? You know, would you say he has more value now, or are you saying he's overrated if he's the number one guy? Because I'm curious. Because if you put him in between those two dudes, he's going to get a whole lot of good looks, whole lot of favorable looks, and if he shows out, you're going to be upset at me. Just trying to poke some holes through some of these things. Yeah, Mark. He says he's overrated. You feel better if you saw him play in 2022? Yeah, that hurts. You know, not having the, what was it, the groin issue or the hamstring issue? That's what it was. The hamstring issue, that hurts for sure. So far in this draft, the Cowboys select running back Bijan Robinson, cornerback Garrett Williams. And this is the round where I'm like, okay, if you pass on interior offensive lineman, if you pass on interior defensive lineman, I need you to address the corner or the line position at some point. Did they do it? With the third pick in the DMN mock draft, the Cowboys select tight end Luke Schumacher. I like Luke. I do. But let's read what they had to say about Luke Schumacher. They're playing a what-if game. If we took McDonald in round one, they could have took Kendre Miller here. He was available, as was Tank Bigsby. And they passed on Cedric Tillman. Would have not have passed on Cedric Tillman for Luke Schumacher. What else did out? Sidney Brown was also available. And he goes on to talk about the impact or whatnot of Luke Schumacher. Look, I really like him. Like, don't get me wrong. We talked about this. Me and Foots talked about if he's a guy that can be available for you early day 3, like round 4 or so. Yeah, pull the trigger, sure. But this here over Tillman and who else is on the board? I don't know who else is on the board. The reason why this one annoys me is because we've passed on guard again. We did a mock draft a couple of weeks ago where the Cowboys did not take a guard into the 5th round. I believe it was a cat out of LSU. So you go running back round 1, you take hurt guy cornerback in round 2. That's not really a scheme fit. And then you go tight end round 3. Oof. What are we grading here? And look, there's no knock on Luke. I like Luke Schumacher. I don't like how this draft is panning out after that first round. And if you want to include the value, right? Oh, I don't take running back in the first round. You could even be down on that as well. So right now, I'm dying for the Cowboys to address the offensive line position. Dying for him. What do we got on Luke Schumacher in the 3rd round? And look, let's try to do this. Instead of grading him, let's grade the pick in the scenario where we are right now. Marky, I don't like it. Draft started off good, then man, kind of feeling. C+. Mark, this mock sucks. Myers D. F C. Yeah, it's not a fun one. Lee C. Mid from 6081 boy, yeah. Dallas Law 43 C+. Danny. Band C+, borderline B, C+. So yeah, this sucks because I like him. Don't like where this is going. Don't like where this is going. So, all right, Scott, can you get me an offensive lineman in round 4? Let's see. In the 4th round, in the DMN draft, the Cowboys select defensive tackle, which is weird to call him that, so he ain't that big. Byron Young out of Alabama. All right, so I did have some tape I was going to throw up here, but let's just read what Dane Brugler had to say about him. 6'2", 250. Weird to call him a DT. This is what Brugler said, quote, a wind him up and let him loose type of rusher. Young is an explosive, hard charger and at his best on tackle and stunts because of the balance and quickness to stay on his path as a rusher. However, he's an undersized guy and his role will be limited at the next level because of his deficiencies in closed areas. Overall, Young can be engulfed in the run game and as his rush stalls too quickly at contact, but his energy and pass rush flashes lead to backfield plays. Though he has limitations in the run game, he has a potential to make a living as a glorified sub rusher in the NFL. Let me see. Do I still have him up here? I do not. All good. So Byron Young will be the 4th selection for the Cowboys, the 4th round selection for the Cowboys. And when I look at what Brugler is saying here, stunts, energy, versatility, it sounds like a Dan Quinn guy. It sounds like him, especially given this scheme right here. This scheme doesn't really ask their DTs to do a whole lot of you go beat your man and get to the quarterback. It's a lot of you create for a man or you'll be created for. But who's on this board? Do they talk about who's on this board? Running back Zach Evans was on the board. Not Deuce Vaughn. He's talking about one of the scouts. Let's see here. Yeah, he's not really talking about who else is on the board besides Zach Evans, Roshan Johnson, Danny Savage, Jair Brown from Penn State. Yeah. So the first 4 picks, Cowboys Nation. You have Bijan Robinson, Garrett Williams, Luke Schumacher, Byron Jones. For fun, I'll give you the last 3 that the Cowboys got in this draft. I'm not going to go through them all in detail. In fact, I can just show you, I believe. Yeah, here we go. So they took Clayton Tune in round 5, and they finally got their guard in round 6 in Jarrett Patterson, and then linebacker D. Williams in round 7. So if I can, there we go. Those are the first 6 picks plus D. Winters in round 7. Bijan will start this thing off great, 100%. Then it gets a bit choppy. There'll have to be some getting used to with this one. Not gonna lie to you. This one would be, I need to talk to coaches. Hey, all right, so what is the plan with XYZ? We know about Luke. Like we know what Luke is gonna be. Blocking tight end 3 type of guy. Maybe he can develop a type tight end 2. We'll see. Byron Young just feels like why? I feel like you got a bunch of Byron Youngs on the team already. Who else is on the board there? Quarterback. We talk about this. You're throwing darts at this point in the 5th round and beyond. You got your guard in round 6. You hope he would develop, but we're talking about round 6, and then you get a linebacker in round 7. This draft for me, if you look at the grades for PFF, it got a B. But this draft for me, I wouldn't go that high. I would probably give it a C because Bijan is carrying this thing. I do like the upside of Schumacher. The Garrett Williams pick, I need to know who else is on that board because it doesn't quite make sense. I mean, it makes sense from an injury standpoint, but from a Dan Quinn and a scheme fit, I would have to do a little bit more homework to try to talk myself into that one. C+ at best. C is too high. Horrible D. I mean, but Bijan's carrying that C. Trust me, believe me. Oh, I would have loved if Emmanuel Forbes was here, and I know he's small and everybody hate that, but man, I think he's a really good player. Bijan only pick I like, and that's the other thing, right? Like you say that, Trevor. That's one thing as a fan, and I'm still trying to sometimes remove that from what I do, is we like a lot of players. And we get to the draft and we'll say, oh man, they didn't take the guy I like, so we kind of shit on the guy they took. That's why I can't wait until we select who we select, because 9 times out of 10, there's going to be guys on here that we don't like or we haven't really paid attention to. Then when you get them and you start diving in, you learn more about them, you hear more about them, you see more, right? You quite literally see them out there or listen to them. You start to say, man, there's something else to this player that all we have is the film, right? Or all we have is the highlights, or we don't really have the context of certain things. And you start to come around to certain guys. Not saying you do that for every player, but that will 100% happen. Hey, it's only one guy I like here. Brian gives it an F. Bijan makes it a D. Yeah, not a very fun draft right here, but this is what DMN did. Anybody got anything on Jaret Patterson? I have not looked at Jaret Patterson. See, this is a guy right here. Say the Cowboys went out and drafted him. I don't know a damn thing about Jaret Patterson. So I would have dove in. What's his size like? Is he a run guy? Is he a pass guy? What is his scheme? How does he fit? And maybe you can come around to understand, developmental guy type of situation. But this is TC915. This is DMN, Dallas Morning News Draft. Ask Danny. Facts. Anybody got anything on Jaret Patterson? Jay says, instead of going Garrett Williams, I'm trading 58 for Forbes. Over the last couple of mock drafts I've seen, that second round pick, man, I feel like that is prime trade for a guy type of pick. And I'm talking about NFL player. An NFL player, prime. So, Danny, you got something on him? Danny says, overage, lost his center job as a 6-year senior. Whoa. Okay. Sky, he's better than Josh Ball. Well, if he a guard, that would give us a B if we traded up for Emmanuel Forbes. T-Dub says, seems like a BPA type of draft. I don't know. That's why I kind of want to know who's on the board when Garrett is taken, who's on the board when Luke was taken, and Byron Young. Because the Byron Young and Luke one doesn't feel like it. In fact, they said they skipped over Cedric Tillman. I would have took Cedric Tillman over Luke Schumacher. But that first round pick, 100%, that feels like BPA. Absolutely. Devin said, check the DMs. You like yours better. Maybe we'll do that. You know what? Maybe we'll do that. We got some time to kill over the next week and a half. Maybe we'll get some fan mock drafts sent in here, and we're going to judge y'all mock drafts. That will be fun. For sure. Before I get back to the horns, 351-999-3787, and to the super chats, take a little quick break and talk about our friends over at Boston Scientific. ED can affect your self-esteem and impact your most important relationships in your life. If you tried the pills, the injections, and all that other stuff and haven't found a solution, there is hope in Boston Scientific. Take a free online assessment that you can share with your doctor. Click the ad and learn a lot more. There is a permanent, satisfying solution to treat your ED. Visit edcure.org. Get the facts. Find a urologist. They offer treatments that work when others do not. Again, that's edcure.org, sponsored by Boston Scientific. It ain't hard, but you can be.
You're listening to A to Z Sports.
Do it live!
At some point, hoping to broadcast
In front of the millions
of Cowboys fans to bring you the real. But for now, strap up and
Facts, King.
Here's your host, Skywalker Steele.
I'm Luke Skywalker. I'm here to rescue you.
We'll do it live.
King Element, this mock draft gave me ED. That's great. Nah, that's a great idea though. Get some of our fans, send in your mock drafts. I want to do that now. Check out these real quick. Let me see here. Boom, boom, bang. All right, so look, here's what I'm gonna do. We're gonna play around with this real quick, D. I'm gonna read off Devin's mock draft here in a second. However, over the weekend, I'm gonna figure out how the logistics can work with that, because not everyone follows me on Twitter, right? Like, not everybody follows me on Instagram or what have you. I'm gonna figure out a way. Maybe just send them to my business email. Send me your mock drafts. All right, send me your real mock draft. Don't send me nothing where you fixed the settings, right? You turned off this, you turned off that. No. Send me some solid, realistic mock drafts, and we're gonna grade y'all mock drafts. Right now, let me see if I can bring this up. Because look, that's the thing about grading all these other media members. Yeah, we can talk shit on their mock draft. But boy, if your mock draft get slayed, you're going to be... So let me see if I can bring it up. So if you can handle the heat here, D, let me see if I can bring this up one time for the one time. Here we go. Bow. How does that work? Damn, that didn't work. I mean, it worked. I'm just trying to move it over here so y'all can see his mock draft. Because that other mock, yeah, I ain't like that one. All right, here we go. I mean, I like yours better, for sure. You ain't lying about that. Building a plane in the air. Building a plane in the air. All right, so this is Devin's mock draft here. He's got Will McDonald in round 1. Jalen Hyatt fell to 58 in round 2. So you get that speedster. Speaking of Byron Young, we were just talking about Byron Young went in round 3. Let me get this out the way for y'all. There we go. And then you made a trade. You trade up, you trade down, you traded up to get Roschon Johnson. Okay, so I like where your thinking is at, right? Attack the defensive line, still get your weapon on offense, and then you still attack that running back. Where I'm like, is I didn't get my offensive lineman in the top 3 rounds there, but you came back in the 5th round and you got a guard out of Alabama, and then linebacker, tight end. They brought in Braden Willis, so okay, I can actually get behind this better than the one we just saw. To be honest with you. You traded back? Okay, you traded back. Picked up an extra 5th and got Roschon Johnson. It's better than that one we saw, that's for sure. I like McDonald. I like Hyatt in the 2nd. Again, Byron Young, I don't know who was on that board there. I feel like that probably wasn't BPA. But again, if you already took the receiver and the edge, I would love to know what offensive lineman was still there, or running back was still there, or defensive tackle was still there. But yeah, I like the Roschon pick. I don't know much about Emil, but I like this draft better for sure. Let's do that. Let's figure out a way to get y'all mock drafts sent to me. Hell, you can send them to my email, skywalkerstill@gmail.com, and we'll do a day where it could be a Friday, we roll out the TV again or something like that, where we are grading the fans mock draft. Let's get 210 on the horn real quick though. What's up?
Hey, what's good with Sky? This is my first time calling.
Welcome to the show, man.
San Antonio. Appreciate it. I've been watching you for about a year or so now.
Thank you.
I really don't think there's no way that we'll have a chance to draft Bijan because, he's definitely going to be gone.
Fair. I mean, I don't think a lot of us believe he'll be there, but, man, the draft is a weird lady.
That's true, too. That's true. Teams do suck at drafting, that's for sure. What would you prefer to take in the first round?
It kind of all depends who's on the board, but I'm still 10 toes down on. I'd like to attack the trenches if I can, offensive line, defensive line. But man, talking to the caller earlier, I would not be upset, and maybe I should change the word from trenches to front 7 on the defense, because I would not be upset if we came away with a middle linebacker mainstay early either. But I'm definitely offensive line, defensive line guy, unless one of your top prospects from a receiver type standpoint falls to you.
So if Bijan's not there, I think we should take offensive line, a guard preferably, and then maybe if Mozzie falls to 58, that'd be great.
Oh man, that'd be perfect.
3rd round, maybe get another receiver. I think receiver maybe 4th round, 3rd round, maybe like if there's a good linebacker out there still. I haven't dug too deep into the prospects, but I've been watching this show and Vach, so I'm a little bit up on it.
Yeah. So Vach is just about done. I'm pretty sure he'll be dropping his big board. He usually does a top 50 though. He doesn't go Dane Brugler on your ass, but he'll do a top 50 big board. So his should be coming out here soon. I'm just ready, man. I'm ready for the Cowboys to make the selection so we can talk about the Cowboys selections. I'll be open and candid with y'all. When we get to this point where you're like a week out, it starts to drag, man. It starts to drag, and you know, you're talking about these hundreds of prospects. I want to narrow it down to the 7, 8, 9 that the Cowboys took, man. I'm just ready.
Yeah, for real. Yeah, I'm ready for that too, because we usually do real good in the draft, and we do pretty good in the later rounds too.
And undrafted. Like that's a fun part too. Is taking a look at the players that the Cowboys got from an undrafted standpoint.
Yeah, that boy Will McClay on his ish.
Don't he?
Yeah, I appreciate it. Those guys want to holler at you real quick.
All right, man. Thanks for the call. Appreciate you, dog.
No problem. Thank you. Yep.
All right, let's get to a couple super chats. Saw one just come in, and that just reminded me I got other ones I got to get to. So here we go. Let's do that. In fact, I'll get the one that just came through right now. Grant Rainwater. It's a name right there.
Super chat.
He said, appreciate the super chat. He said, mock through round 4. Darnell, offensive Darnell Wright, Siaka Ika, Pace Jr., Mingo. Oh, I like that one. Darnell Wright, Siaka Ika, Pace Jr., Mingo. Is that just the names you're throwing, or did you do one of the mock drafts? But I like that. You know, I feel like Ika in the second feels a bit rich to me. I don't look at Siaka Ika as a dual type of guy. I kind of look at him as a trash can full of dirt. Now I can get trash can full of dirt a little better unless they one of them ones. And maybe he can be that, but I don't really see that yet. Pace Jr., Ivan Pace Jr., linebacker out of Cincy. Like his athleticism, yeah. So that's 1, 2. That's your 3rd round pick. And then I almost called Mingo the other Mingo, the linebacker. The kid from Jonathan Mingo, the kid from Ole Miss. 4th round. I love that value right there, for sure. Dallas Law drop 5.
Super chat.
Just supporting the stream. Appreciate the salute. And now let's go over here and get to, man, y'all the best. Y'all already sending me mock drafts. Look, I'm gonna hold on to these because we're gonna make this content for real. So maybe we'll do it Wednesday. Because Monday I'm gonna open up a mailbag for y'all. Tuesday we'll do the on the clock, and then Wednesday we'll come back to it. All right, other super chats I did not get to. Aaron dropped one earlier.
Super chat.
He said, hot take. Tillman plays more years in the NFL than any wide receiver in this class. It's a hot take. It's an interesting take too. You know, not going to be the best receiver, not going to have the most yards, touchdowns, just going to play more years. I would have not passed on Tillman for a tight end in Schumacher. I wouldn't have. Andre Robinson.
Super chat.
Drop one and said, good morning, brother. Still time to rebuild the Great Wall of Dallas in rounds 1 and 3. Speed at wide receiver in round 2. Pick running back in the 4th. I'm all about these trenches, man. I'm really trying to figure out these trenches. We talked about it yesterday. From a macro standpoint, you can line up right now and go play. 100%. But once you start diving in, man, it gets real fragile, right? You start to see where there's some holes from a future standpoint, and you're not really insured. So I'm all about trying to shore up this offensive line. My guy Tyrone Melton
Super
dropped
chat.
one earlier and said, just like Jabril Cox, I don't think the front office is high on Ferguson and Hendershot like we are. I would not say that. That's a bit drastic because Jabril Cox not playing, you know. Where Ferguson and Hendershot actually had real life legitimate roles in this offense in year 1. And I don't think that they let go of Dalton Schultz if they're not confident in Ferguson or Hendershot. Mind you, regardless if they take a tight end, Ferguson or Hendershot, likely Ferguson is going to be tight end too and be a part of this offense. So if they weren't as high on these guys, I think they would have signed a tight end and drafted a guy. So I think that's a bit drastic right there. I don't think these guys are in the same Jabril Cox mode. And I think maybe Tyrone, I wonder if you're being a bit influenced by the tight end hype, right? Because the front office hasn't necessarily come out and shitted on Ferguson or Hendershot. I know there's a lot of media people, Brian Broaddus, who on one hand said, hey, man, look for tight end. And then on the other hand said, hey, man, they love Peyton Hendershot. They love or they like Jake Ferguson or whatever. That's literally what he said. But if the draft comes and they reach for a tight end, right? In round one, that may hold some that may be true what you're saying. But as we stand right now, I think they like Ferguson and Hendershot a lot more than maybe you'd be willing to than you think. I think they like him more than you think. I'll just say that. Grant dropped one earlier as well.
Super chat.
He said we got to do a chat vote mock draft next week. So what we've done this in the past, the last 2 seasons. We've actually done a full-blown live mock draft where I do exactly that, Grant. We'll go down. I pretty much let you guys influence me on the pick, and we'll probably do that the day before the draft, right? I don't like to do a whole bunch of you haven't seen me put one out. I don't do a whole lot of those, but we'll do 1 or 2 of them together on that day, and that'll be fun. And I believe that is it. Oh, right now, Sully just dropped one.
Super chat.
The front office is high on Ferg and Hendo. I'm pretty sure it was Broaddus or Eatman said they are actually higher on Hendo than Ferg. Yes, it was Broaddus. Sully. He said, so what he said was, and I thought it was interesting. He said they love Hendershot. And then he was like, I mean, they like Ferguson, but they love Hendershot. And I said, oh, okay. But it's also the same guy that said they're going to draft a tight end in the first round. And now all respect to B. Like I'll bring Brian Broaddus on and ask him that, exactly what he means. In fact, I've actually reached out to him and asked him about Ferguson and Hendershot. And he said that, yeah, the tight end thing has legs. That was, like a month ago when this whole tight end situation started. But he didn't say it was, and I asked specifically, I mean, I could pull up the damn text because now I'm kind of got me on this thing. I'll ask specifically, like, is it because there's concern in the tight end room? And he said, no, it has nothing to do with that. Like with the guys that they have. So I do think they do like Hendershot and they do like Ferguson. For sure. Let's do it. Hey, Foots, hit me up, Lord. Let's do it, Foots. We can do that on Tuesday. We can do that on Tuesday. All right, man. Good stuff today. Appreciate y'all. Y'all carried this thing. Fantastic. Fantastic show today. If you enjoyed today's show, if you enjoyed everything this week, I thought this was a good week, especially as things are getting, slowing down. Hit that like button, man. Do me a favor, hit that like button. Be on the lookout. I don't often say hit the bell and things like that. I probably should. I'm not really good with the whole YouTube mannerism thing. Hey, subscribe. Look at me. Yada yada. Look, man. If you like the show, if you enjoy what we do, that's when I ask you to subscribe. Like, I'm not telling you to just cause. But today I'm going to drop the conversation we had yesterday with Deron Bland. So yeah, hit the bell if you can. So when that drops, you guys get the notification. You can come in and listen live from a premiere standpoint. All right. No show today over on the volume. No show today later on with our guy Mo. But make sure y'all check out all of his work and all of our fantastic writers on A to Z Sports Dallas.com. Also, I told y'all the I's have been dotted, the T's have been crossed. The debut of a staple segment on the show every week is coming. Now we're going to promote this thing. We're going to have a good rollout, a nice rollout for it. The first episode will actually be the day of the draft. So that'll be really cool. And I think you'll like it. I think you'll like it a lot. We're going to it'll add something different to the show. And we will be doing that live throughout the off season. And then during the regular season, we will be dropping it as a video with a little bit of a teaser during the show. So I'll give y'all more information on that as we get closer. But hey, man, we're trying to build this thing. Continue to be better and better each day. That's what we got to do. With that said, press this button. King said, what's the best website to do the draft simulations? I heard you had to start paying for PFF. Now, I'm already a member, so probably I don't have to, but it used to be, I like PFF. There used to be, I believe, first draft pick or something like that. Y'all let King know where to go, man. There's a whole lot of them. Mock draft database is good, too. I'm out of here. Peace. Love y'all. Happy Friday. Appreciate you, L. If y'all need to follow me and support on all platforms, check out L's comment, rate, chill.